Jaya Prabhupada, Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradaite Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvashe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so yesterday we were discussing the 4 reasons which Arjuna gives for not fighting. What are they? Yes, Sachup. Hmm? 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 Destruction of dynasty. Okay. It's good to remember the same sequence because Krishna refutes them also in the same sequence. Hmm. Okay, what else? Your guest. Hmm. 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 Where? Hmm. 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 Right. Right. So that is principle of AMI, academic and moral integrity. Hmm. Okay, what else? Hmm.
It will bring criticism, frustration. So therefore, in association of devotees, one must have a relationship with which is based on Krishna being in center.
Okay, good point. Thank you. Okay, okay.
Yeah, Krishna, why is better servant than becoming servant of Krishna is better than becoming a servant of non-devotee. You explained one shloka regarding that. So, like Krishna is faultless, he's controller, and
okay, 2. Somebody else tell the remaining 3. That is the first one, faultless.
All knowing, yes.
All knowing, supreme controller. Okay, so there's a, so one is assured to go to the spiritual world, and Anantaparam is eternal, beyond time and space. Okay. What else? Next.
We discuss about nimittani viparitani. So sometimes we expect something and get different. But Arjuna was thinking by winning the battle he will be happy, but now he is denying for battle. And at the same time, we put that Prabhupada told Vaishnavas should always expect some reverse in life. And in case everything goes fine, he should be grateful that everything went fine because of the mercy of the Lord, because the world by nature is dukkhalayam asasvatam.
Correct. Good.
Verse 20 to 29, we saw that Prabhupada is glorifying the compassion of Arjun. And in 29, he's telling that he's out of material fear. So then we discussed how the internal potency of Lord is appearing, the compassion is appearing to be the fear of material nature. So that is the
Correct.
part of internal potency.
Yes, that's the influence of the internal potency. Okay, fine. So now we'll proceed ahead with the second chapter. Anyone has any doubts, questions on what we discussed yesterday? Okay.
In that one purpose, it is mentioned that Krishna was controlling Arjuna's transcendental senses. So, which means here, what about Arjuna's material senses? Means that I wanted to know. Actually, we say about transcendental senses means senses of spiritual body.
The purified senses are called as transcendental senses. So whatever, so your point is correct. The spirit soul also has spiritual senses, but the material senses also, when totally purified, they become spiritualized. Correct? Example?
For example, iron rod put into fire becomes fiery.
Yes. So the same thing. Anything else?
Between Lord and his devotees. And the two verses glorifying the how great are the Lord who doesn't leave his subordinates, and how fortunate are those devotees who have such a master.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. That Leela is over now. Now we're asking for questions. If anybody has any questions. Okay.
It's not a question directly related to it. It's like somewhat related to it. Means like we know like the Kali has to enter, then all those Parikshit Maharaj incident happened. And just before Parikshit Maharaj was throned, Pandavas ruled almost for 36 years. And Duryodhan is like a symbol of Kali. So like, I mean to say then why all of this war and everything? Anyway, the Kali is coming now.
So then you're talking about this Dwapar Yuga. In Satyuga also there was Hiranyakashipu.
Yes. But like, if we see the chronology, the sequences after in this yoga, the Kali is coming. So anyway, like the establishment of the rule of Pandavas was meant to establish dharma. But ultimately, again, the dharma went away when Kali Yuga entered. So it's like they didn't rule for a very long span of time. Like, I mean to say, if a war is taking place, like Lord Ramchandra ruled for 11,000 years almost after he killed. That's like a very long time the dharma was there. But now we see just after the Mahabharata war only, there was a, for some time they ruled, and again the Kali started.
And now we are in Kali.
Yes.
So why bother about all this? Anyway, Kali is going to. Anyway, Kali Yuga is going to come. Kali Yuga is going to influence everyone. Then why bother?
No, my question was not about botheration. Anyway, because Kali is ocean of faults only. So something has to go wrong, like we see in the case of Parikshit Maharaj also. Why Shringi cursed Parikshit? Because Kali Yuga has to enter. That's why Brahmanas has to degrade. That's one of the reasons which Acharyas also give. So anyway, the Duryodhana was symbol of Kali, so he could have started.
So that's what I'm asking a counter question.
Yes.
So the counter question is, now also we know
Yes.
Kali, we are in Kali. Kali is going to progress for the next how many years?
4 lakh.
4,27,000 years. So let Kali do his job. Why this chanting and all this? Why join Brahmacharya ashram and break the head? What is the answer to that?
Because Kali Yuga is not the. It's we are going against our nature, but Kali Yuga is not supposed to start actually. Basically,
It's not supposed to start.
means I mean to say that Kali Yuga is our notion of faults,
Okay.
and we are not supposed to follow that.
Right. So that means we are trying to counteract the effects of Kali, right?
Yes.
Even though Kali is there, we are still trying to counteract the effects.
Yes.
So that's the same point. Srila Prabhupada gives a very simple example in his purports there. So he says that just like now, we are in winter. So then we know winter is going to come, or after this rainy season is going to come. So then what do we do? Correct. So because we know that the rainy season is going to come, then people go purchase umbrellas and all that. You see, just before the rainy season, there'll be so many people, they set up their shops on the roadside to sell umbrellas, or just before the winter season, so many people set up stalls to sell jackets and all that. Why? Because the season is definitely going to come, but then one tries to protect oneself from the effects of that. So similarly, so we know Kali is going to come. Krishna definitely knew that Kali is going to come. And so therefore, then Krishna is setting up the ways and means by which one can counteract the effects of Kali. And so therefore, then there was the war. Then there was the most important part of the war was the speaking of Bhagavad Gita.
One Acharya tells that why Krishna conducted war is because he wanted to speak Bhagavad Gita.
That's one of them,
Yeah.
besides other reasons.
Yeah.
One of them is, yes, so that the Bhagavad Gita could be spoken. And so Prabhupada staged the whole scene in which the Bhagavad Gita could be spoken. He orchestrated the whole thing. So therefore, this all ultimately so that we get this knowledge, and then we can discuss the Bhagavad Gita and sit in the class rather than sleeping in the ashram.
And counter the effects of Kali.
That's the point. Anything else?
Yes. So I want to know like what is the structure of family in spiritual world. Here like we have father, mother, then
There
children.
also is father, mother, no? Krishna is father, mother.
Wife, husband.
All right, in Dwarka there is. In Dwarka, how many wives Krishna has?
No, us, like Krishna has. But what about us? Like,
oh, what about you? You'll find out very soon. Just be patient. Don't worry so much.
Okay. Thank you.
An interesting point in the 43rd verse, Arjuna says, I've heard by disciplic succession. So he's quoting authority. And as Prabhupada writes in the first sentence of his purport, Arjuna bases his argument not on his own personal experience, but on what he has heard from the authorities. So we see that how whatever Arjuna spoke is all based on Shastra. It's not whimsical. It's all based on Shastra. It is perfect. But the problem is, yes, misapplication. That is the problem. And we will come to that point in the second chapter again. Okay. Chapter 2, contents of Gita summarized. A brief summary. First 10 verses, Arjuna surrenders. 11 to 30 is the section on Gyan, especially Atma Tattva. And by speaking that, Krishna is defeating the first reason of Arjuna for not fighting, and that is compassion. Then the next section is Karma Kand from 31 to 38. And there he defeats the second and the third reasons of Arjuna for not fighting, that is enjoyment and sinful reactions. And then 39 to 53 is the section on Buddhi Yoga and Karma Yoga. And the last section from 54 to 72 is about Sthit Dhir Muni. Okay. First section from 1 to 10, first verse. Let's recite. Sanjaya uvacha tam tata kripaya vishtam ashru purna kulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha Madhusudana. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudan, Krishna, spoke the following words. Purport. Okay, maybe we'll start from that corner. Piche.
Purport. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all sign of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for eternal soul is self-realization. The word Madhusudana is significant. In this verse, Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu. And now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. A man fallen in the ocean of nescience cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward days, the gross material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward days is called Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya and his conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man, and for this purpose, the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in self-realization by an analytical study of material body and the spirit soul. As explained by the Supreme Authority, Lord Sri Krishna, this realization is possible when one works without attachment to productive result and is situated in the fixed conception of the real self.
So in the last verse of the previous chapter, it said, Shoka Samvigna Manasa. So Arjuna's mind was overwhelmed with shoka, with grief, lamentation, shoka. So it's very interesting that how Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita on the war field when the war is just about to begin. And Arjuna is ready to fight. Everything was ready. But then, all of a sudden, crisis. What type of crisis? Mental crisis. Manasa. Shoka samvigna manasa. And so therefore, Krishna wants to make an important point, that the Bhagavad Gita is not simply meant for armchair speculators who just are having a nice leisure time, and in their leisure time they're discussing Bhagavad Gita. So the Bhagavad Gita is meant for solving the crisis of life. And who does not fall into crisis in this material world? Is there anyone? The whole material world is a crisis. Samsara davana lidaloka. Forest fire means what? It's a crisis. When there's a fire, there is no time to relax, isn't it? It's a crisis. Something has to be done immediately. So, here we find Arjuna in a total state of anxiety and mental breakdown. There's a good preaching point, isn't it? On the basis of this point, you can preach to psychiatrists. Who are trying to relieve their patients of mental anxiety and mental distress. So yes, Arjuna was in a similar situation. And that's when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita as the perfect solution to that crisis. And so that's how now the second chapter is beginning. Krishna is seeing Arjuna in this situation. Ashru Purna Kulekshanam Iksha. His eyes were filled with tears. And so, seeing him in this condition, Kripaya Vishram, Krishna had kripa, he had compassion on Arjuna. And that's the world. Everyone is in this lamentable situation. Everyone is undergoing so many difficulties, crises, every step, every day, every moment practically. And so therefore, Krishna has spoken this Bhagavad Gita out of compassion for all the living entities. Because such crises of life, do they happen only to Indians? Huh? Yes. All over the world. Whoever one may be. And therefore the Bhagavad Gita is meant for everyone. Therefore, there is no sectarianism for Bhagavad Gita that is only meant for Hindus, Indians, Brahmanas. No, because everyone goes through these situations and Krishna is speaking out of compassion for all the living entities who are suffering in this material world. Kripaya Vishtam. And so, Srila Prabhupada begins the purport by saying, what are the symptoms of ignorance? Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. So if one is ignorant about the Atma, then there is material compassion. That means compassion for the body, on the bodily platform. And again, lamentation, tears, also on the bodily platform. All of them can be spiritualized. They can all happen on the spiritual platform also, correct? On the spiritual platform also, there can be compassion. On the spiritual platform also, there can be lamentation. Lamentation for? Lamentation for not serving Krishna properly. Huh? Devoid of association. Lamentation due to separation, resulting in tears. There could be tears of spiritual ecstasy. So everything, so when you talk of a material aspect of life, then there has to be a spiritual counterpart, because everything has its beginning where? In the spiritual world. So if anything is happening in the material world, there has to be a spiritual counterpart. It has to be there. And so therefore, all these symptoms are signs of ignorance of the real self. And so these are material symptoms. Okay. And then he's explained the word Madhusudan. Madhusudan significant, killer of the demon Madhu. Doubts are compared to demons, and therefore now Krishna is killing the demon of doubt, misunderstanding. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. Prabhupada gave this example quite often, right? So the man is drowning, and this man in the boat has successfully saved the man by saving coat. And I don't know whether he looks happy about it. In any case, so if any one of you happen to see a drowning man, what would you do? Whatever you say, you have to justify. Huh? Of course, we know you will not save only the coats. That's obvious. But the comparison is the coat is compared to body. Correct? That's what we're talking about. Material compassion. Compassion for the body. So if you actually see a man drowning in a river, what would you do? Yes, Shubham? Who's online now? Huh? Kaun? Oh, why Prashant is online today? Acha, they've gone to Ayodhya. Oh, they're hearing from Ayodhya. Sure. They should hear Ram Leela in Ayodhya. Why Bhagavad Gita? Okay, anyways.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So actually I saw in last year June, I was at Badrinath Yatra. So while coming, we were at Dev. So I actually saw a person just going through the river. I couldn't do anything except chanting one time Hare Krishna.
In the Ganges?
Ganges, Dev. For 4 minutes before it, the water level
There
was...
the water is very forceful.
Yeah, 4 minutes before it was like knee height. They were clicking photos along with family, one man. He was in between river. Just after 4 minutes, I took a bath and came out and put my kopin, and I was wearing dhoti, and I suddenly heard everyone shouting, his wife or someone, loudly crying. And then water was like this, and he just went. Couldn't do anything except just remembering one time Hare Krishna Mama. That's it.
Okay. Okay, that's real life experience. Okay. Sudhanshu.
We should certainly save the man, try to save, although it is body, we should try to save, because the human life has gone after many lifetimes, and it is the only way by which he can really attain the perfection of, means human life is the only way by which he can again go back to Godhead. So in
But
that
it was
sense-
his karma to die. Just like Shubham Prabhu was saying, the man just swept by the sacred Ganges. That's good in one sense. But what to do? That's karma.
seeing the other man drowning and not helping, and we just sitting inactive, it will be also our karma then, that we are
Huh?
not trying our, means we are not trying from our side to help that man out, especially.
Why should I interfere with his karma? What business do I have to interfere with others' karma? Let them die.
Then the thing comes of compassion, in the sense that by saving his human life, we are again, although we may not have compassion directly, but at least he will get an opportunity in further to practice.
That means you're defying the law of karma. So even if you try to save and it was his karma to die, would you be successful? Okay, your point is correct. Very valuable points you have made, but we are playing around a little bit. Okay. Okay, wait, before Vittal Prabhu, what's your name, Prabhu, again? Ajay, okay. Ajay,
Maybe his karma
Hmm.
is there to die,
Hmm.
but we are, making our karma good by saving him.
Abhi gadbad hai. So what type of karma you are going to get?
Yes, that is pious. I mean, we'll get
That
some
is
piety.
material punya.
Material punya. Yeah.
So you want material punya to go to Swarga? You want to go to Swarga?
No.
Not bad.
No,
No?
I don't want to go there. But
You don't want?
no.
No suffering. Not. You don't have to sit in class like this. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. No problem. No problem. हाँ बोलो.
Wisdom. So actually, saving to that man's heart means we are actually giving comfort to people in society, material comfort.
देखो. Now you are bring up another point. We are asking one question. Our question is, you see a man drowning, वो डूब रहा है, आप क्या करोगे? ये हमारा प्रश्न है.
Try to save.
Okay, good. Somebody else? I think so. Ujjwal Prabhu is going to give. Okay, yeah.
Just praying to Lord, chanting Hare Krishna mantra.
भगवान जो करना, हम क्या कर सकते हैं? भगवान पर छोड़. अच्छी बात है. Not so bad. Okay, now Ujjwal Prabhu is going to enlighten us with.
So if I know swimming, I will go and try to save. And if I don't know, then keeping my life safe, I will try to give some ropes and like so that I will try to help.
So now, what about the other question about karma?
Whatever my best I have done, now whatever Lord desire will be there, that will be my duty. Do your best and leave the rest to God.
Okay. Valid points. Okay. Govind Prabhu wants to say something. ठीक है. बोलो.
We'll give him one more opportunity to serve Krishna and to practice Krishna consciousness.
We never said he's a devotee.
But if we will save him, he will be very thankful or grateful. So whatever will guide him, so he will practice.
Oh, that's a good point. So that means, what are you doing? Your point is correct. So by trying to save him, what are you doing?
Giving him Krishna consciousness.
Exactly. That's right. That's the main reason why we should try to save. And I have a proper quote to back it up. It was spoken by His Holiness Giraj Swami Maharaj in a lecture. And so when somebody asked Srila Prabhupada this question, then this was Prabhupada's answer. And he said that, yes, actually we have no business interfering in other people's karma. But if it is possible for us, then we should do it, because there is a principle called Loka Vichar. Loka Vichar, public opinion. And if the public opinion is favorable for us, then what will happen? Yes, favorable for preaching. And you may have read about this incident. Where was it? In Paris? I don't remember exactly. No, it was in Australia, correct. So where, yes, there was fire in a building just across the temple. And so it was daytime, all the men had gone out for book distribution, only ladies were there in the temple. But the ladies, bold enough, they tried to save those people in that building. And then next day it was in news. So the devotees were appreciated for their attempts to save. And so that's favorable public opinion that helps in preaching. But again, as Ujjwal rightly pointed out, but it should be done with calculated risk, not recklessly. Calculated risk. That means one should be confident that I will try to save them, but not at the risk of my life. That would be foolishness. Okay. So, yes, so that's in relation to this drowning man. And as far as the other points, which talking about material compassion, true and false compassion, then the other point material compassion is referring to is, as Prabhu was pointing out, trying to provide food, clothing, shelter to people. That's material compassion. And that's a common question which people ask, isn't it? What are you doing for society? What are you providing for society? Okay, so what will be your answer for that? Okay, good. Wait for the mic, because these two people online will think that there is silence in between.
As such, we do so much of food for life, Bhagavad Gita book distribution and all that stuff, well education for children.
Little food. All right. That's all.
In terms of local vichar, we cannot do that. What government and all others, the scheming stuff, this is free, that is free. You come and join us, we'll give that. We cannot do that. We can do that. Calculated risk.
See, if some outsider asks you this question, how will you reply? You reply that way.
Me in sense of me.
See, you consider me outsider and you reply to me.
When you ask me this question, you're asking me, referring me as a person from ISKCON, or like what you're asking?
Yes, you are the representative of ISKCON, I'm the outsider.
That's what we are telling. We are telling you do.
So you reply, how will you reply to that person?
So I said we do a lot of free food distribution for children's in orphanages, and then we do a lot of cow protection and all, and then we do a lot of value education for students so that they have better understanding of life.
But see, first of all, life means, first of all, person must have food to eat to live.
Yeah.
You do little bit, you distribute some food here and there, but so many people are dying out of starvation. What are you doing about it?
For them, nothing. It's very straightforward. Like, आपने कुछ ज़्यादा. At least if I would react the same way, because if someone outsider asks the question, I'll tell him some things which he can understand. And if he expects me to become a welfare organization like some an NGO, I cannot tell that. I'll tell them then uptright. This is what we can do at max. And we have some other business to them. If he is able to understand that part, I'll definitely explain. If he doesn't understand, it doesn't make sense.
Goodbye. Okay, Achyut Prabhu has something to say.
Prabhuji, earth has many things is there, so it has contracted because of sinful activities which people they are doing.
Say that again. Say you're replying to an outsider, no?
Yes, yes.
Say it again.
So we cannot kind of for everybody Lord has provided, but because of our own sinful activities, the earth has taken it away from us. But when we do welfare activities in terms of Harinam and all, and we are doing book distribution, Prasadam distribution, which will also nourish their soul and they will understand.
Soul?
By distribution.
What soul you're talking about? I don't understand about the soul and all. There is soul?
Yes.
I don't know.
It's mentioned in our scriptures. So first of all, that's why we are doing this book distribution, so that people will understand what we can do and how we can live.
Baba, they will read book, but how will they read if they're hungry?
So that we are doing Prasadam distribution for that purpose only.
But that's what you do in some few places you do, and there are so many people who are still hungry out of starvation, they're dying.
Actually, rain comes when we perform yajna. So that's what mentioned in.
Such complicated philosophy, I don't understand, Baba. इनको दे दो अशोक कुमार.
At least I will say that we are doing in little bit in some pockets here and there, but I will say that what you are doing for them. That's what. That's what I will say, that we are trying to do in the best capacity whatever we can do.
What you're talking, Baba? Yeah.
If you want to help me, then you also should join me, and so that we can expand this food program for everyone. Because in whatever capacity I can do, I am doing. If you want to help me, then you can also join me.
Sorry, sir. हाँ ठीक है, हम साधु.
So actually, whatever problem in this material world is there due to like ignorance. So for example, if somebody in his house, if some poor man is there, so if because he's not working and he has not knowledge, so if he gets knowledge how to earn money, and then his hunger can go away. So similarly, he can be educated and earn money, and all his life problem will go up. Similarly, we are giving spiritual knowledge so that whatever problem is there, it will be solved by spiritual knowledge.
How?
Just like material problem, I am telling. If somebody is not educated, so will not get good job, and he's
correct. So, that I agree.
So similarly, this spiritual knowledge is the highest knowledge.
Okay.
And if somebody gets spiritual knowledge, then he will be out of ignorance, and he can enlighten himself also and others also. He will know the.
Okay. Others is another thing. But how he himself will be benefited just by knowledge? So I read the book. Yes. Can it fill my belly?
No, but it is not directly connected to the belly. But the result of knowledge, that like material knowledge, if somebody gets, then he gets good job, and then his other problem will be solved.
Agreed.
Similarly, so that will be like for temporary, I can say that. But if somebody gets spiritual knowledge, then all his problems will be solved like permanently, yes, like that.
Acha, how?
Because
How all problems will be solved permanently by getting spiritual knowledge? I can't understand the relationship.
because he will have the actual knowledge, what is good, what is bad, what is sinful activities, what is not sinful, what I should do, what others should do, what is prohibited. So by that he will be like enlightened. And another thing I can tell that in this material world, like people have problem like bodily problem, they go to the doctor and all. But the mental problem, like why this is happening to me, why
They go to psychiatrist for
no
mental
no
problems.
why bad thing is happening with me, even I am doing good things, these things not doctor and psychiatrist, nobody will explain. That is only explained in the shastra, like spiritual knowledge, whatever we are contributing in the society.
Okay, somewhat okay. Somewhat okay. I'm looking for Prabhupada's answer. Okay, you have the mic? Go ahead. You have the mic? Go ahead. Bolo.
So,
okay, I want that precise Prabhupada example.
yes.
Ah.
So Prabhupada, actually, you are telling that they are having food problem. So actually, the root cause of that problem is forgetfulness of God.
Okay, what's the story?
Prodigal son. That is from Bible. So actually, he is suffering in this material world. Actually, he has.
What's the root cause?
The forgetfulness of God.
In that story?
Father.
The relationship with the rich father.
Rich father.
So he has so many problems, but then you take the child back to the father, all his problems will be solved. So that was what I was looking for, because that's the story Prabhupada says when he was asked this question regarding social welfare and giving food, clothing, shelter, medicines to people. So this was story Prabhupada told to Mr. Malhotra, right? Mike?
There is a lecture of Prabhupada at Surat. When he reached, so he was asked by Patrakar, reporters, news reporters. So, आपके मंदिर क्या करते हैं? आपके यहाँ लोग जाने से डरते हैं, भिखारियों के लिए क्या है, खाना मिलता है क्या? Prabhupada is trying to explain, but again they asked, like you poked question that तो उससे क्या पेट भरेगा क्या उससे? Prabhupada told कि फिर आप लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? I am an old man. I am trying my best. I have opened so many centers and their prasad is given. What you are doing, you should also join and serve with us.
Ashok Kumar.
in one of the room conversation Prabhupada talks, there are Muslim people who comes. This is very exciting room conversation. Where Prabhupada talks about that we have opened this Bombay temple and we are providing prasadam, food for life. So we are not open this only for poor people, but it's for rich people also. So whoever wants to come, they can join with us. We'll give him food, clothing, shelter, everything, provided he should practice Krishna consciousness, chant Hare Krishna.
Right.
So we're not denying.
Right. So, but at the same time, Prabhupada can speak like that. We cannot speak like that. So if we speak like that, then people will say, these people are so arrogant. So we cannot imitate Prabhupada. Prabhupada, he's the founder, he started. So Prabhupada's position was different. So then this answer with the story is something which is more, what is the right word? People can appreciate to some degree at least. If somebody wants to flatly refuse, then that's another point. But at least it's something logical which people can appreciate. Okay, fine. So it is best to speak what the Acharya has spoken, because when we speak that, there is spiritual potency. And because it's coming in parampara, it has spiritual potency. And that is what helps to convince the other person. So, okay, you want to ask counter question now, huh?
we may quote the same story and tell it. And you said you cannot replay what Prabhupada said. Latter, the second one. So in that case, what should we replay? Because when I said Proji कि मतलब जितना उनको समझाया वो समझा देंगे, नहीं समझा तो छोड़ देंगे. Ashok Bro said, आप क्या करो, आप मेरे को help करो, आवाने तो आप क्या करें? So what should we say?
No, that's what I said. That better you try to convince him with some proper logical philosophy, that story that Prabhupada told.
Yes.
So this is what we can try. But at the end of that, if the person is still arguing, then it's beyond our.
So that time, what should be our reply, or we should just उधर से conversation end करना है? Should we have to give a reply back?
Now time, place, circumstances. You have to decide. Okay, we cannot tell exactly what can be done in every situation. That you have to decide according to the situation, how you. But then, as it said, it's always good to send a person with on a happy note, okay, rather than a blunt note. Okay, fine. Okay, let's go to the second. Okay, Prabhupada's lecture on the verse, please read.
Krishna is described here as Madhusudana, the killer of demon Madhu. Madhu Kaita Bahari. So Arjuna was attacked by a demon of forgetting his duty, being too much afflicted by bodily relationship. This is our position. In this material world, we are so much attached to this body relationship that it is to be considered just like we are ghostly haunted. In a poetry, Prem Vivarta, it is said that Pishacha Paila Yena Mati
Channa hoy.
Channahaya.
Maya grasta jivera hoy se bhava udhay.
Maya grasta jiva. Maya grasta means Maya grasta. Maya means illusion, hallucination. So we are in this material world. We are all illusioned. Illusioned means accepting something as fact which is not. Something just like in a dream, we see sometimes I'm attacked with a tiger, my head is being cut off, so many things. So actually there is no tiger. My head is not being cut off, but still I'm crying. Oh, here is a tiger, here is a tiger. So our attachment for this world is like that. It is illusion. I'm thinking that without me, everything will be spoiled. My presence is required. So on and so on, so on.
Just reminds me of another example Prabhupada gives. So he says, just like sometimes in a school, a teacher to punish a student may say, see, you behave properly, otherwise I'll cut your head and then you'll see it. So that's an illusion. If the head is cut, how can one see? So that's illusion. That's material life. And so this bodily platform is just like that. It's a dream. Everything is temporary, but one thinks it to be reality. That is Maya grastha. Pishachi Pailayena Mati Channa, haunted by ghost, just like a person haunted by ghost, speaking all nonsense. So actually, this is the material conception of life, the bodily conception of life. Why it is compared to a person haunted by a ghost or a mad person? Also, the verse from the Bhagavatam, 5th canto. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yad indriya priyataya apranoti. Nunam pramattaha. Mattha means mad. Pramatta means sufficiently mad. That's how Prabhupada translates it. Sufficiently mad. So why a person who's indulging in sense gratification on the bodily conception of life, why is he called as mad? Why is he compared to a mad person or a ghost-haunted person? Anyone has visited a mental asylum? Not admitted, but a visit? No. Okay, so we happen to visit, part of our studies. So So there you will see that somebody will say, I'm Prime Minister, somebody will say, I'm President, somebody will say, I'm Police Inspector, and they are 100% convinced about it. They're serious. That's why they're called mad. That means what? They have false upadhis. False upadhis. That is why they're called mad. They are accepting something which they are not. That is called Maya. That which is not. And so all conditioned souls, what are they? What is their false designation? Yes, I am this body. So then what do you call them? That is why a conditioned soul is called mad. It is very logical. And of course, Prabhupada many times quotes this incident that he personally saw in Calcutta. There was this man who was murdered. So a man murdered another man, and the murderer was taken to the court. And so the murderer, he told the judge, when I murdered, I was not in a good mental state of mind. So then doctor was called, and then the doctor examined, and the doctor said, yes, the man was not in a proper mental state when he committed the murder. But in my opinion, everyone in this world is somewhat mad. And so Srila Prabhupada backs up his answer and says, not only we are saying, but even the medical people are accepting the fact that everyone is almost mad. Acha. In my lectures he speaks. Okay, so anyone who is in the bodily conception is actually somewhat mad. And that's what Krishna is trying to help Arjuna come out of the bodily conception. Okay. Text 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalam Midam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtam Aswargyam Akirti Karam Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. So here, first of all, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. And again, Prabhupada makes this point in many of his lectures. Why doesn't Vyasadeva write Krishna Uvacha? Why Shri Bhagavan Uvacha? Why? Why not Krishna Uvacha? Why Shri Bhagavan Uvacha? So many places throughout the Gita, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Right. So people misunderstand Krishna. Therefore, he wants to make the point clear that Krishna is Bhagavan. And therefore, whatever he speaks is authentic, authorized. So Krishna is beginning his talk, his discourse. His first time Krishna is speaking. And how is he beginning? By chastising Arjuna. He's chastising Arjuna. Kutastva kashmalam idam. How have these impurities come upon you? Kashmalam. Vishamay. Vishamay. Vishamay is what? In this hour of crisis. The war is about to begin. It's hour of crisis. And Arjuna is refusing to fight. So in this hour of crisis, how have these impurities come upon you? Therefore, you are anarya, anarya jushtam. You're not acting like an Aryan, you're acting like an Aryan. And the result of this will be two things, aswargyam and akirti. The result will be you will not achieve heavenly planets like Kshatriyas normally do when they die on the battlefield, nor would you become famous. Akirti. These will be the results of not refusing to fight and acting like an Aryan. So Prabhupada begins his purport with, first of all, defining Bhagavan and explaining the three aspects of the realization of the absolute truth. So I'm sure all of this is basic knowledge, which all of you know. So definition of Bhagavan as given by Parashar Muni. Verse bolo. Ek jan bolo.
ऐश्वर्यस्य समग्रस्य वीर्यस्य यशस्य श्रिया ज्ञानवैराग्यश्च षण्णां भगैतिङ्गण.
Translation.
ऐश्वर्यस्य, he has all ऐश्वर्यस्य समग्रस्य वीर्यस्य
Samagrasya means
all, incomplete. Viryasya means his strength. Viryasya yasha means glory or fame. Yashasya shriya. Shriya means again wealth. Beauty. Shriya. Jnana vairagya, knowledge, and vairagya renunciation. Shannam bhagaidingana. These all are the 6 opulences that Bhagavan possesses.
Right, in full. Okay, fine. And 3 aspects of the realization of the absolute truth are Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. What are the analogies Prabhupada gives in that connection? Son, explain. You have the mic.
Is comparing like sunlight is Brahman, which is ever pervading all over the universe. And then when we go on the surface, that is like a Paramatma. When you go more inside, then you see the sun god, that is Bhagwan.
Okay, fine. Other analogy? Another analogy?
Another analogy Prabhupada gives about the mountain. From the distance, it looks like a very hazy things. If you go nearer, then we see something like a greenery is there. If you go further inside, we see some trees, houses, human beings are there inside, animals.
Right. Okay, fine. So that's what Prabhupada initially speaks about, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Itesham Shakalapams and all that. Now, somebody please read the last paragraph of the purport. So you're only supposed to read. In the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the last paragraph.
In the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming, and therefore the Krishna expressed his surprise with the word Kuta, where from? Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of man known as Aryans. The word Aryan is applicable to person who knows the values of life and have a civilization based on the spiritual realization. Person who are led by the material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagwan, and they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Although the Arjuna was Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting to the non-Aryans. Such deviations from the duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. The Lord Krishna did not approve the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsman.
Yes, so basically the definition of Aryan is, what's the definition of Aryan? Who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Okay, so that's the meaning of an Aryan. And so therefore, Arjuna was acting as if he did not know the spiritual values of life, and therefore he's being called as un-Aryan. Important sentence here is, such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life. Okay, so an important principle which Krishna is stressing right from the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita till the end of the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, throughout Krishna hammers this point again and again and again, and that is performance of duty, performance of duty. And of course, we'll discuss many other aspects of that. But this is a point which Krishna stresses, and that's the point he wants to really drive home for Arjuna, that it's not what I like and what I don't like, but it is based on duty as given in the scripture. Okay. Krishna is continuing his chastisement in the 3rd verse. Klebyam asma gama partha neitattvayupapadyate shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. So Krishna is saying this is clabium. It is impotence. It is not acting according to a Kshatriya. So it does not befit a Kshatriya. And Arjuna was saying that I do not want to fight because of compassion on my relatives and friends. Krishna is saying, no, this is not compassion. This is what? Hridaya Daurbalyam. This is petty weakness of the heart, not having a strong mind, a strong conviction. It is weakness of the heart. The heart means the consciousness. The consciousness is not sufficiently strong to withstand the difficulties and challenges in the performance of one's duty. Rather, one is falling a victim, a prey to the pullings and pushings of the mind. Mind says, I like this, I don't like this. One simply falls a prey to that and does not perform one's duty. That is called as weakness of the heart. So Krishna is saying, no, don't talk about compassion. This is not compassion. This is what? Weakness of the heart. Prabhupada writes that towards the end of his purport. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds that his magnanimous attitude for the most respectful Bhishma and his relatives. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna. Okay. So now, fourth verse, now Arjuna says something. Arjuna uvacha katam bhishmam aham sankhye dronam cha madhusudana ishubi pratiyotsyami pujara varisudana. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Please read the purport.
Respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counter-attacked. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counter-attack them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather Ugrasen or his teacher Sandipani Muni? These were some of the arguments offered by Arjuna to Krishna.
Okay, so immediately Arjuna is offering a counter argument. Krishna said, this is no compassion, this is weakness of the heart. Now Arjuna is counteracting. He's saying, you are known as Arisudan. Arisudan means, Ari means enemy. You are known as killer of enemies. You are not called Ugrasen Sudan. You never kill your grandfather or your teachers. You never kill them. How are you expecting me to kill? And he's also calling him what? Madhusudan. So you are called Madhusudan. You killed whom? A demon named Madhu? You didn't kill your relatives and friends. How are you expecting me to kill relatives? You never kill. How are you expecting me to kill? So you see, Arjuna is immediately counter-arguing. And therefore, Prabhupada makes the point in the purport that this is not proper etiquette to counter-argue. And so he's saying that it is a general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Okay, anyway, we can read this. These points are basically presented, but we'll come to this. Okay, read this. So Vishwanath Thakur is presenting it as a nice conversation.
According to scriptures of dharma, not respecting those worthy of worship is a cause of bondage. Pratividhanati hisraya pujya puja vyatikrama. Therefore, I withdraw from fighting. How can I kill them? The form prati yotsyami parasmai pada is used instead of the form prati yotsaye atmane pad for oneself. But those two elders are fighting against you. Why are you not able to fight against them?
Okay, that's what Krishna is saying. The first part is Arjuna is saying. So Arjuna says, according to the scriptures, elders should be respected. They should be worshipped. How can I kill them? That is what Arjuna is saying. But Krishna then says, but these elders are fighting against you. Then you should fight back, isn't it?
No, I cannot do so, for they are worthy of worship, puja arha. I should offer flowers to their feet in devotion, rather than sharp arrows in anger. O friend Krishna, even you injure only the enemies in battle and not your own Guru Sandipani Muni or your friends of the Yadus, O Madhusudan, killer of Madhu. But I am a descendant of Madhu in the ancient lineage of the Yadu dynasty. Therefore, I am called Madhava. How could I have killed Madhu?
Also, so Krishna is also playing around. Okay, so Krishna is saying, Madhu comes in the same lineage of the Yadus. How could I have killed him?
No, I do not mean that Madhu. I am speaking about the demon named Madhu, who was your enemy, Arisudan. Source is unknown. It is also quoted by Baldev. Madhu was the father of Vrishni, whose later descendants included Vasudeva and Devaki. The demon Madhu, along with his brother Kaitav, appeared after Brahma appeared from the lotus of Vishnu's navel and stole the Vedas from him. Vishnu consequently killed them.
Okay, so there are these two Madhus. But here, of course, Arjuna is referring to the demon named as Madhu. Prabhupada's lecture on the third verse.
So, atah Sri Krishna namadi na bhave grahyam indriya. So, this behavior of Krishna, how ordinary men can understand, because they have got their ordinary senses, therefore they mistake. Why Krishna? Even Krishna's devotee Vaishnava, that is also stated. Vaishnavera kriya mudra vigyana na bujhaya. Even a Vaishnava Acharya, what he is doing, even the most expert, intelligent man cannot understand why he is doing this. Therefore, we should not try to imitate the higher authorities, but we have to follow the order, injunction given by the higher authorities. It is not possible. Krishna is exciting Arjuna to fight. That does not mean we can also do that. Excite. No, that will be immoral. For Krishna, it is not immoral. Whatever he is doing, God is good. He is all good. We should accept it. Whatever he is doing, that is all good. This is one side. And whatever I am doing without authority's order, this is all bad. He does not require any order from anyone else. Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the supreme controller. He does not require anyone's instruction. Whatever he does, it is perfect. This is Krishna understanding.
So Prabhupada is making the point that Krishna, so sometimes people accuse that Krishna, before Arjuna was a very nice man, non-violent, but this Krishna unnecessarily instigated him to fight. Correct? Some people say that. So therefore Prabhupada is making the point, you cannot understand why Krishna is doing these things. So what to speak of understanding Krishna, you cannot even understand the activities of Vaishnava. And so therefore, but one point is very clear, that whatever Krishna does is all good. It is for the benefit of everyone. That point we have to accept. Okay, now coming back to this point of Vaishnava etiquettes here in this verse, I'm sure you have heard a lot about it, but still just for a brief revision. So why should one follow Vaishnava etiquettes? Few points. Why should one follow Vaishnava etiquettes? To avoid Vaishnava aparadh, yes. If we don't follow the responsibility of aparadhs, what else? Same, something else. Yes. Who said that? Who said that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. If you know that famous pastime, when Sanatana Goswami was called by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then Sanatana Goswami goes via the sea beach. So at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes this point. Yes, that this is the abhushan. What else? No, we are asking why should one follow Vaishnava? Okay, so then what's the result of that? Okay, fine. One will have a material vision and that will lead to offenses. Okay, what else? What else? Why should one follow etiquettes? Huh?
In every society, there is a way and ways and means to deal with each other.
Hmm.
So when we are dealing with ordinary people who are very different.
Hmm.
In community of Vaishnavas, we should be dealing with such a way that is pleasing to the Lord.
So pleasing to the Lord, yes. So the behavior is pleasing to the Lord. Yes, that's an important point. So anything more? So here, specifically, Srila Prabhupada is writing about how even if they sometimes are harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Okay. So in that context, there is this verse which comes in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the context of the pastime of Jain, Vijay, and the four Kumaras. So there, so the Lord, we know later on, Lord Narayan comes out to settle the matter. And then Lord Narayan himself is glorifying the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. And in that context, the Lord says that when a Brahmana is angry, and sometimes he may speak harshly and chastise, then when the other person, he simply smiles. He simply smiles and tries to calm down the person. Then Krishna is very pleased by such behavior. The Lord himself is saying that he's very pleased by such behavior. So that's the proper etiquette that the Lord himself says. So it's not the proper etiquette that one immediately counter-argue. That is what Arjuna is doing here, is immediately counter-arguing. So the Lord says, no, that's not the proper etiquette to counter-argue. So one should try to tolerate, if not smile, at least tolerate. So, so smiling may be a little bit difficult. That needs high spiritual realization. But at least one can learn to tolerate and not immediately counter-argue. And Srila Prabhupada, he quotes Chanakya Pandit, and he says, a servant who back answers is no good servant at all. You know, back answering, ulta jawab. So somebody who back answers is no good servant. So these are etiquettes which need to be followed. And that's how the Vaishnavas and Krishna will be pleased by that. And that's the whole principle of humility and tolerance that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks about. Okay, so now Arjuna continues on with his arguments, and he says in the fifth verse, Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhekshamapiha loke hatvartha kamam stu guru nihaiva bunjiya bhogan rudira pradigdan. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Okay, so Arjuna is saying, Shreyo bhoktum bheksham. Better than Shreya, better than bhoktum, better than enjoying, winning the war is bhiksha. Better is bhiksha. Shreyo bhoktum bheksham pihaloke. So what is the use of killing and enjoying? Bunjiya bhogan. Rudigra pradigdan. It will simply be tainted with blood. And there is this well-known quote. Anyone who has done IDC will remember this quote. According to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Where is this quoted in the IDC? Yes, rejection of guru. In that context, this quote is given that when a guru can be rejected, when he has lost his sense of discrimination. And then Prabhupada says, Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhan because of his financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. But Arjuna thinks that nevertheless, they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils tainted with blood. Sixth verse. Nachaitad vidma kataranno gariyo Yadva yajema yadiva no jayeyu yaneva hatva na jijivishamas tevastitha pramukhe daktarashtraha. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefields. So this verse indicates the fifth reason of Arjuna for not fighting, and that is indecision. Indecision. So this is the fifth reason for Arjuna not fighting. Indecision. That is in the sixth verse. So here we can see that how Arjuna is confused. He's confused. So he's not understanding what is better. If I fight the war, I can win the war. But then if I win the war, my relatives will be dead. Then the kingdom has no meaning. But if I don't fight the war, then the only option is begging. But Kshatriya is not supposed to beg. So this is his confusion. Now he's totally confused. Till now he was quite firm on not fighting, but now he's confused. Should I fight or not fight? As Prabhupada writes in his purport, Arjuna did not know whether he should fight and risk unnecessary violence, although fighting is the duty of Kshatriyas, or whether he should refrain and live by begging. If he did not conquer the enemy, begging would be his only means of subsistence. Nor was there certainty of victory, because either side might emerge victorious. Even if victory awaited them, and the cause was justified still, if the sons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, it would be very difficult to live in their absence. Under the circumstances, that would be another kind of defeat for them. All these considerations by Arjuna definitely proved that not only was a great devotee of the Lord, but he was also highly enlightened and had complete control over his mind and senses. His desire to live by begging, although he was born in the royal household, is another sign of detachment. He was truly virtuous as these qualities combined with his faith in the words of instruction of Sri Krishna. So he's confused over here, but then again, Srila Prabhupada is taking the positive side of it and saying that all this indicates the good qualities of Arjuna, that he doesn't want to unnecessarily fight. So in this situation where he's totally confused, at that time, what does he do? He surrenders to Krishna. Seventh verse. Karpanya doshopahata svabhava pritchami tvam dharma samuda chetaha yashreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. We'll read the next verse also and then discuss. Eighth. Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyad yachokam uchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumau asapatnam ruddham Rajam Suranam Apichadipatyam. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. So we have something for you. Okay, two questions. Identify general principles drawn from these two verses, drawn from Arjuna's dilemma and surrender to Krishna, and discuss how these principles are relevant in your own practice of Krishna consciousness. What is a general principle? You will find in your OBA questions many times, you'll find this question. Draw general principles. What is a general principle? Okay. I'm asking what is meant by general principle? A general principle is what is applicable to everyone in all time, place, and circumstances. or as it said, it is universally applicable. It is not contextual, but it is universally applicable. That is what is called as a general principle. Okay, so both in Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, many times you'll be asked this question: draw general principles. So please be clear as to what is a general principle. A general principle is not contextual. It is not restricted to one person or place, but it is something which is applicable to everyone in all time, place, and circumstances. That is what is called as a general principle. Okay, fine. Is it clear what is a general principle? So now we're going to divide the class into two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many are there? Okay, there. Okay, 8. And Prue, you can come this side. Okay, and then again we have 9 here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. Hey, you're in Tatastha Shakti, huh? Prabhu, you have to come little more this side. Okay, so all the devotees this side, 9 devotees this side, take the 7th verse. 9 devotees this side, take the 8th verse. Okay, and then within this group, then you form pairs. Of course, 1, 3 will be there, but in any case, but you form pairs either way, whatever way you want to form pairs, and then discuss these 2 questions. Okay, here everyone does the 7th verse, here everyone does 8th verse. Clear? Okay, fine. We are combining this with your break. So you decide when you want to do it, either beginning or end. So we'll give you 15 minutes break. So that shows 12:05 approx. So how much time you require? Huh? Okay, till 12:20 we'll take the break. Okay? Break till 12:20, including this work. All right? Shri Prabhupada ki jai. वो तो ट्रांसलेशन हो गया ना. So in purport, that is the first sentence of the purport.
By natures, own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, there is a perplexity, and there is view. One is approach of bona fide spiritual master.
Yes. So everyone is put into perplexity, everyone is put into confusion, and so therefore one is obliged to accept a spiritual master. Okay, so the application should follow immediately. उसमें क्या क्या मुश्किल है? Application बताओ. Very simple, na? So what should one do? Application matlab what should one do?
Just experience. उस दिन just kitchen में एक सेवा था, तो I was confused.
नहीं वैसा नहीं. So how will you apply this principle in your life? आपके जीवन में आप इसको कैसे अप्लाई करेंगे? आपने वो प्रिंसिपल बताया ना कि हर एक व्यक्ति को गुरु स्वीकार करना चाहिए, तो आप क्या करेंगे?
जब भी मेरे जीवन में ऐसा कुछ क्राइसिस आए कि जब कंफ्यूजन आए कि मैं कंफ्यूज है, मैं ये करूँ कि वो करूँ, उस टाइम पे सुपीरियर का काउंसलर का हेल्प
गाइडेंस लेना चाहिए. ओके गुड, दैट्स एप्लीकेशन. ओके गुड, हरि बोल. हाँ, नेक्स्ट. दिस इज योर नेक्स्ट पेयर ना? नो, व्हिच इज दैट? हाँ ठीक है. एनीवन.
Anyone who don't understand the purpose of human life and overly attached to family, society, etc., he is kripana.
ए बीच में मत बोलो.
He is a kripana who is overly attached to family, society, and don't understand the real purpose of life. And who understand the purpose of life and use his life to solve the problem of life, he is a brahmana.
Correct. So that's a principle. Yes. How would you apply that?
Instead of being attached to family, society, and all these things, we should also try to solve the real problems of life.
What are the real problems?
Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi.
How?
By surrendering to a guru.
Okay, fine. Or who's next? आपके साथ कौन है?
More or less, we see everybody requires some sort of guidance in any of the field, and somewhere or other everybody is confused.
वो पहला पॉइंट हो गया.
Okay. One point more we wrote project. Like it's like confusion is there for everyone in wherever.
तो वही है. That first sentence of the purport is, that's what is it. So that Praveen Prabhu has already stated.
One point we wrote, like it's like when confusion is there, we seek shelter of a superior in any of the field of life.
Okay, fine. So what will you do?
So practical application in spiritual life also, we cannot practice spiritual life independently. We require shelter of spiritual master and devotees.
Okay, good.
One point is that one must, the principle is that one must have faith in the guide from one who's taking the guide.
कहाँ पर है?
In the sense, Arjuna is having that faith that he's saying, yes, Shayan, you tell me what is benefit for me. He's having faith in Krishna. That what is best for me, you know it. Do you know it? So he's putting that faith in the guide that way. So practically that we must also take up guidance from a person from whom we have faith that he will help me in that way.
Right. Okay. Okay, fine. So who's there? Acha, you're three, huh? Acha, any other points? Okay, give. Yeah, sure.
And in the purport, Prabhupada mentions talks between the master and the disciple are serious. And now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. And also one point he made.
So what's the principle there?
Means like whatever the spiritual master or our superiors are telling to us, we should neither be frivolous and we should be in the mood of its application, and we should have proper etiquettes while doing those things.
Okay, good. Anything more remaining from 7th verse? Pratik.
Seventh verse, Arjuna is actually surrendering here. Prapannam is saying. So he is actually putting his own opinions aside before what he has kept before, the arguments. Now he's putting it aside and agreeing to hear from his. So similarly, when we have to take guidance, we have to keep our ideas behind to gain the knowledge.
Okay, good.
Prabhupada says there is no difference between Krishna within and without.
ये कहाँ पर है?
Last line of the purport. Second last line. So generally we think कृष्णा ने अर्जुन को बोला था, हमको कौन बोलेगा?
Mhm.
So Paramatma in the heart can guide us, and
Mm.
more importantly, spiritual master who is the representative of Krishna also guides us. So we should have.
Okay, fine, good.
In second last paragraph, Prabhupada also writes that economic development and material comforts could drive away one's lamentation for family. If then
No, seven. Okay, now pass it. Yes, 8th verse.
Probably like being affluent or economically developed, we cannot solve. I mean, we cannot solve the problems of life. So it is written that we have to take shelter of the Krishna. You know, we cannot make be peaceful or happy, being wealthy, or you know. So like
Application?
Application is like for countries also, like they want to become rich.
Application for you.
For me, okay, I have to take shelter of Krishna and not go for money and all these things.
Without money, how you'll serve? How you'll build this temple without money?
I mean, little money, not being too greedy.
Little, little is 100 crores.
That is for Krishna we can earn, not for our own personal greed.
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, next.
Hare Krishna. Here the qualification of Mr. Spiritual Master has been quoted also, that scholarly or Brahmana expert in all subject or in Vedic knowledge is unfit to become a spiritual master unless until he is a Vaishnava. So the application point in this is that we should see the Vaishnava quality in others. We should not distinguish based on that how learned he is, but we should see that how he is surrendered to Krishna.
Okay, good point. Yes, that's the qualification of the Guru, the Vaishnava.
It is said that Arjuna is saying that he would not be even happy even after if he's victorious, even if he get the kingdom like demigods. So here Prabhupada is saying that economical developments, if it was so valuable, if it would really give us happiness, then Arjuna would not say like this that I would not be happy even if I win the war. So here by this the conclusion of this is that these problems of life that will not be solved by surrendering to someone material person. We have to surrender to someone who is connected to Krishna, someone who is spiritual.
Okay, fine, good.
Here in the first paragraph, it's mentioned that Arjuna was unable to solve his real problems without the help of spiritual master Lord Sri Krishna. So similarly, in our spiritual life also, whatever problems or crisis we are facing, anarthas, deal with anarthas. Without the guidance of spiritual master or authority, it's very difficult to overcome this.
Okay, good. Something more? Any other points from the 8th verse?
So here, spiritual master should be 100% Krishna conscious. Then only he can solve the problems. Here, Prabhupada is saying.
Application?
So application for me that we have to take, we have to judge while taking the guidance. We should not judge. We have to discriminate between the devotees also.
Bolo.
The guidance you have to take who is 100% Krishna conscious according to Prabhupada.
So how will you know who is 100% Krishna?
Just like Prabhupada is there, we can see where.
So you take guidance from Prabhupada directly. Hey, Ritvik philosophy.
Purports. And from his disciples are there who are perfectly followed and live their life successfully.
Okay, so you don't. How much association you get with Prabhupada disciples?
So like that, those who are following like that in parampara, I will take guidance.
So like that, who is 100%?
Those who are following the 100%.
So how will you know who's following 100%? On what basis will you say, oh, this person is following 100%?
Just trying whatever capacity is. 100% it cannot be achieved. That is very general sentence. But I will try I will just check who is trying sincerely all that.
Good, good. That's right. That's right. So anyone who's sincerely trying to follow can also be considered to be a pure devotee. And so therefore we can take guidance, shelter from anyone who's sincerely trying to follow. Otherwise, if we think I will only take guidance from someone who is 100% pure, then you'll have to wait for finding someone in the spiritual world. So therefore, anyone who's sincerely trying to follow can be considered. Any other points? Eighth verse, Vittal?
Actually, in 8th verse, Arjuna is able to see that before beginning his activity. So Arjuna being Kshatriya, he is mentioning that even if I will achieve Rajya and the prosperity and unrivaled kingdom of earth and sovereignty. So similarly, a person can be in any field because everybody's varnas are different and everybody's goals and pursuits are different. But by doing anything, achieving anything of this world cannot solve the real problem of life. So the application is that the real problem is lamentation will be there, shoka will be there, no matter what. So the famous example Prabhupada gives a fish out of water. Try to get anything of this world, the fish cannot become happy. Similarly, one cannot become happy until unless he takes the shelter of Krishna or one who is representative of Krishna.
Okay, good. Fine. So now, okay.
Prabhupada says, he quotes this verse, Shat karma nipuno vipro mantra tantra visharada. So Prabhupada gives this example. When an engineer comes, you don't ask him whether you are a black or white. So similarly, a guru, he can be of any any.
Prabhupada's other example also is that of gold.
Yeah.
You don't say Hindu gold, Muslim gold. Correct. Yes. Fine. So, 7th verse, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. So, Karpanya, dosha means Arjuna is accepting that I have been overcome by a dosha, upahata means being afflicted. I am afflicted by a dosha, by a weakness, a disease. What is the disease? Karpanya. And as Prabhupada says, this is skin disease. This is skin disease. Thinking about I and mine. So this is skin disease. In one lecture, Srila Prabhupada says that just like there are tannery experts, tannery experts, those are experts in skin, mochi. So the mochi is expert in skin, so he can identify this goat skin, tiger skin. So they're called as tannery experts. So Prabhupada says, so similarly, those who are in bodily consciousness, they're like tannery experts. They know about only the skin expert, skin disease. So this is, so Arjuna is accepting that I have the skin disease of the bodily misconception of life. And therefore, because I'm afflicted with this disease, therefore I am bodily attached to my relatives and friends. And as Srila Prabhupada says that the kripanas or miserly persons waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, etc., and the material conception of life. The kripana thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the kripana thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in lower animals who take care of children. So this is the thinking of the kripana. Dehapatya kalatradishu atmasaineshu asatswapi tesham pramatta nidhanam pashyanapi na pashyati. So the kripana thinks that deha, the body, apatya, relatives, kala, wife, adishu. So all these people will be able to save me from death. But they are all fallible soldiers. They're all fallible souls. They themselves are going to die. So then how they can protect somebody else? So this is a very important point for us to understand. And especially for those who are trying to be in the renounced order of life. So one devotee in another place, so he was there as a brahmachari for almost 8-10 years. He was there, and then he left. Why did he leave? Because he thought in that particular temple outside India, there were very few brahmacharis. Practically all the brahmacharis had left. So then he began to think, who is here to take care of me? When I become old, who is there to take care? So sometimes these thoughts come to brahmacharis, especially after spending a few years and some symptoms of old age begin to appear, which inevitably will. Then one may begin to think, who will take care of me? I should find some partner to take care of me. So then so thinking like that brahmachari got married. Not bad. No, Grihastha ashram. Fine. So then what happened? Then afterwards, he got married, he got children. So then both his children turned out to be daughters. So then what happens to the daughters? They get married and go away. Then the brahmachari is still alone. So then afterwards he was lamenting. So now who's there? Now he has to take care of his wife also, besides himself. So the children who were supposed to take care, now they're gone. This is the reality of life. So therefore, when Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, they left for the forest after Vidura's strong preaching. And then when Yudhishthira Maharaj, he sees all of a sudden his uncle and aunt have disappeared. So he's in so much of anxiety. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj thinks, no, I should go to the forest, find my uncle and aunt and take care of them. It's my duty as the king. So then what happened? Yes, then Narad Muni comes. And Narad Muni says, who is taking care of the animals in the forest? Who's taking care? That person who's taking care of all the animals in the forest will also take care of your uncle and aunt. Don't worry. So therefore, ultimately, no one can take care of anybody else. I myself don't know how long I will live. So a man may think I will take care of my wife. And the wife may think my husband will take care of me. But does anyone have any guarantee of how long each one will live? Therefore, it's simply an illusion to think that somebody will take care besides the Supreme Lord. Of course, as long as we are in this world, whatever we need to do as our duty, we need to do, definitely. As father, mother, children, whatever duties need to be done, they need to be done. There's no doubt about that. But ultimately, one has to have that full faith that ultimately it's only Krishna who's going to protect in any situation of life. Only Krishna can protect. And so especially it said for a sannyasi, he should be abhayam, fearless, because he has full faith that Krishna is there to protect. So that's what Prabhupada is writing. So Kripana is one who thinks that, oh, only my family members can protect. That type of attachment is found even in the lower animals. So that was Arjuna's problem. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. So he says, this is the swabhava, this is the characteristic I've developed. And therefore, prichami tvam dharma samuda chetaha. So he's saying, my cheta, my consciousness is afflicted by confusion about how to apply dharma. Dharma samuda chetaha. So see, Arjuna he had knowledge about dharma. He had knowledge about shastra. He had knowledge about all these things. But where was the confusion? How to apply. And therefore, the Mahabharata says, Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. The principles of dharma are very confidential. So one may say, what is confidential? Shastra is available. Everywhere it is available. Now you go to Google, you'll find all the books of Shastra, correct? All Puranas, Vedas, everything you can find. Then what is Guhya? What is confidential? Yes. One may read all the Shastra, one may know them also, theoretical knowledge. But how to apply when the situation comes, when the crisis comes, how to apply those principles of Shastra, that's what is Guhya, that is what is confidential. And therefore the solution is Mahajanoyena Gata Sapanta. Then one has to follow in the footsteps of the previous Mahajans. Then one has to consider, how did the Mahajans apply dharma in their life in various situations? And then one can follow the footsteps. Therefore, for us, it is very important for us to read about the life of Srila Prabhupada. Because then we understand how Srila Prabhupada applied the principles of dharma in modern day setting. So that is what Srila Prabhupada has given in his purports also. Prabhupada has given contemporary examples, contemporary situations, and how to apply. That is the importance of reading Prabhupada books. And also reading about his life is also very important because that's what we can learn. So one question which I usually ask in all batches, how many have read the entire Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit, 7 volumes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the proportion is better in this batch. Abridged version, how many have read? Small version? Okay, number is small. But then we should try to read. That's like the basic 7 volumes of Prabhupada Leelamrit. This is our Acharya, our founder Acharya. If we don't read about our founder Acharya, about whom we'll read? Bollywood star. In school days, how much history we learned? How many years you learned history? About 10 years you learned history. About so many different people, correct? Now, if you could read all that, why did you read that? Because you had to read. But now, there is no compulsion, correct? So then we don't read because there's no compulsion. But should we read only because it is a compulsion? We should be eager to learn about our founder Acharya. That's how we'll understand his mood and mission. If we don't read about his life, how we'll understand his mood and mission, how he applied Shastra, how we applied the principles of religion in a practical way. So reading properly, now so many disciples are writing, practically all proper disciples are writing one book about their experiences with Prabhupada. Giraj Maharaj, so many books. Now new book also has come. Yes. So, and then so many other disciples have written so many books. So therefore, it's good. Instead of reading so many other books, one can at least try to read about Srila Prabhupada and learn about his life. That's how we can understand how to apply dharma. That's Arjuna's problem. He knows dharma, but he's confused about the application in the crisis, in the hour of crisis. And so therefore he's saying, you know what is best for me. Yat Shreya Syan Nishchitam. Nishchitam, definitely. You tell me definitely what is best for me. And then he says, Shishyasteham. Now I'm Shishya. Now no more argument. Till now what was going on? Argument was going on. And Prabhupada in many lectures he says that when there are friendly talks, there cannot be any conclusion. So therefore Arjuna says, now no more friendly talks. Now I'm Shishya. Whatever you say, I will accept. Prapannam. Now I'm a soul surrendered unto you. And then in the 8th verse, he's saying that, okay, there is no way to drive away the shokam. Yet shokam. There is no way to drive away. Even if I get Ruddham Rajyam Suranam, the kingdom of the demigods, even if I get that, I will not be satisfied, because there is no other way by which this grief can go away except by your instructions. So that's the only way one can actually curb lamentation for good. Prabhupada writes that in the last paragraph. Therefore, if we want to curb lamentation for good means forever, then we have to take shelter of Krishna, as Arjuna is seeking to do. So Arjuna asked Krishna to solve his problem definitely, and that is the way of Krishna consciousness. So we want a definite solution to the material problems, and the definite solution is Krishna consciousness. There are no temporary solutions for the problems of life. So the important principle here is we cannot take shelter of temporary situations or temporary skills, talents for the problems of life. So even as devotees, sometimes we may think that, oh, I'll try to figure out everything because I have so many talents, skills, I'm intelligent, I have so much of academic qualifications, I have so many degrees across my name, and I've done so many jobs and this and that. So therefore, I'll figure out things on my own. This is a fact. Then one fails to have faith in spiritual authorities. And sometimes one may judge a spiritual authority on the basis of material qualifications. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is quoting this. Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi, Shudra Keni Noy, Ye Krishna Tattvavetta, Say Guru Hoy. So, a spiritual personality is not to be judged on the basis of material qualifications. Otherwise, sometimes a subordinate, a disciple may think, oh, I am materially more qualified than my guru, so therefore I definitely should know more than my guru. So why should I accept all what my guru says? In certain cases, I know better than my guru. And sometimes this, in the recent times, this is becoming a problem with so-called educated devotees. There was one in recent time, we came across this case of one devotee who was studying in one of the prestigious colleges of India. And then, so because educated devotees have the capability to read a number of books, so then he had read all of Prabhupada's books, maybe all, maybe, but he had read most of Prabhupada's books, and now he wanted to read higher literature, higher literature. Young devotee was still in college. No, just passed out from the colleges. He had just passed out, something like that. But young devotee. But since he's there since 3-4 years and he's read all the books, and so now he wants to read literatures of the Goswamis and things like that. So his superiors were telling him, no, this is not the right time. You cannot, first of all, read Prabhupada books properly, study them properly, understand them, apply them, then you can read. He was not ready to listen. He was not ready to listen. And he went on a practically anti-ISKCON campaign within the college. It became a big problem. He was initiated. He was already initiated. And so finally the senior devotee said, okay, you ask your Diksha Guru. And you know what he said? He said, I will not ask because I know if I ask, he will not allow me. Then why did he accept a guru in the first place? So this is what happens. So one takes shelter of one's material qualifications and thinks I'm smart enough to figure out everything. But then material smartness is not the solution to the problems of life, because all one's material smartness, material qualifications, Krishna can finish off in one moment. Everything can be finished. And that's the important lesson to learn. So Arjuna is saying that there is no way all my material qualifications, wealth, none of this will help me to solve this problem. Only your instructions will help me to solve this problem. And that's how he surrenders. Okay, that's an important principle to learn. Okay, Prabhupada's lecture, please read.
Kripana means one who does not properly use his position. One man is very rich, but he does not use his money, simply sees the money. He is called Kripana. Similarly, Arjun is powerful, he can fight. He is a Kshatriya, but he is denying his ability. Therefore, he is thinking that I have become Kripana, miser. Although I have got strength, I am denying to fight. Although I have got money, I do not spend. These are called Kripana. So Karpanya doso pahatas. Now I am infected with Karpanya dosh.
Yeah, so basically Kripana means conjuice, right? So somebody has got something precious, but he does not use it. So what we have got? Yes, the human form of life, which is so precious, which can be used for Krishna consciousness, but does not use it for the right purpose, then one is called Kripana, miser. Okay, 9th verse. So these are the 5 reasons of Arjuna for not fighting: compassion, loss of enjoyment, sinful reaction, destruction of dynasty, and indecision. Okay, 9th verse. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva rishikesham gudakesha parantapaha na yotsya iti govindam uktva tushnim babuvaha. Sanjay said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell asleep. So Prabhupada writes here, although Arjuna was for the time being overwhelmed with false grief due to family affection, he surrendered unto Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, as a disciple. This indicated that he would soon be free from the false lamentation resulting from family affection and would be enlightened with perfect knowledge of self-realization of Krishna consciousness and would then surely fight. Thus, Dhritarashtra's joy would be frustrated since Arjuna would be enlightened by Krishna and would fight to the end. 10. Tam uvacha rishikesha prahasanniva bharata senayorubhayor madhye vishidantam idam vachaha. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Purport?
The talk was going on between intimate friends, namely the Hrishikesha and the Gudakesha. As friends, both of them were on the same level, but one of them voluntarily became a student of the other. Krishna was smiling because a friend had chosen to become a disciple. As Lord of all, he is always in the superior position as the master of everyone. And yet the Lord agrees to be a friend, a son, or a lover for a devotee. Who wants him in such a role? But when he was accepted as the master, he at once assumed the role and talked with the disciple like the master, with gravity as it is required. It appears that the talk between the master and the disciple was openly exchanged in the presence of both armies so that all were benefited. So the talks of Bhagavad Gita are not for any particular person, society, or community, but they are for all, and friends or enemies are equally entitled to hear them.
Okay, so now Krishna began to smile, prahasan, because he saw that Arjuna, his friend, has become disciple. Okay, any questions so far? This is the first section of the chapter from 1 to 10. Now we're in the next section. Any questions so far? हाँ, उनको माइक दे दो.
Bhishma was in the side of Kaurava because of money, but he's a pure devotee. So how he is attracted with money?
Okay, so this is a well-known question which many people also ask as to why Bhishma, in spite of being a devotee, took the side of the Kauravas. So I'm sure many of you know the answers. So can somebody say? Okay, Sushma, and then Sudash.
Basically, Krishna wanted to experience this viryaras. So that's why he will not fight with anyone. He'll fight with his devotees only. That's why Bhishma took the side of Kauravas. Another reason which I heard from Vishwanath Thakur's commentary, that like he gives a very esoteric example. During sexual pleasure, when the lover bites the other
Okay,
partner.
that's just explaining the viryaras basically. So how Krishna was finding pleasure in the arrows.
So it's not that Krishna was not finding pleasure. It's
Right. So basically that's viryaras. That's one reason. What's the another reason?
I heard that Bhishma has given assurance that he'll protect the Kauravas whenever there will be problem and all. And
Yes, he had assured that he'll be subservient to the king of Hastinapur. So the king of Hastinapur was Duryodhan. So therefore he was subordinate to the king. And so as being subordinate to the king, then he has to take the side of the king. And it's true. Why? Because in one sense, Duryodhan as a king was supporting him financially. So therefore, as being maintained, he was sort of obligated, he was grateful that Duryodhan was maintaining as the king, because Bhishma, he had promised that he will not become the king, the next king. You know that story. His father Shantanu Maharaj and Satyavati. So therefore, as being subordinate to the king, then he has to take the party of the king in the fight. But there's one more reason. Okay, now you have the mic.
Krishna actually Bhishma Dev was wanted to set an example that even the around us people are not Krishna conscious, but one can remain Krishna conscious. Okay.
Okay, okay. But there's one more reason.
Krishna wanted to show to the world that even the greatest warrior of the world is on the side of adharma, that they can lose.
Yes. So that's an important point which Prabhupada writes in his Bhagavatam first canto purports. That Krishna wanted to show that even if such a great personality as Bhishma takes the side of adharma, he cannot win. He has to lose. Right. So these are some of the reasons. Okay?
You mentioned regarding etiquette that one should not even verbally fight. But sometimes in villages or in general, sometimes parents, especially father, he drinks and everything. So in that case, sometimes their children like sometimes beat him or some kind of. So is it like breaking etiquette because he is not following his dharma as a father?
What do you think?
I'm confused, therefore I asked.
So, okay, you're confused, but you have read so much Shastra, na? Already.
Okay. Solution is Prabhuji, I need dharma sammuda cheta, so I need to surrender.
Arey Baba, itna mat bolo.
Really, I don't know. Therefore, I'm asking.
Okay, but what do you think?
I think that they are doing proper in a sense because he is not following his duty. So he's no more acting as his father. If he could have, then he, because if he's.
Yes, that's correct. So if parents are not acting properly, they're acting immorally, improperly, then obviously we cannot expect the children to follow. Yes. So that point also Prabhupada has written, no? What? The teacher needs to be abandoned when? When he loses sense of discrimination, is acting improperly. Of course, I mean, that should be the last resort. Okay, so the respectful attitude towards the parents should always be there. And even if they may be acting immorally or something like that, but it's not that the children should immediately misbehave or go against them. Of course, if they're telling to do some wrong things, obviously the children cannot follow. But then as far as possible, the respectful attitude should always be there. In the worst case, of course, then make against. Okay.
Here in the sixth verse, we have discussed that Arjuna is confused in terms of taking decision whether to fight or not. And then we see in seventh verse, he surrenders that I am your disciple, and then you guide me. And in eighth verse, he says like, he again explains his indecision. And then in ninth verse, at last, before Lord speaks, he says that I don't want to fight again. So like, is there any significance there, Prabhuji, or like just a flow of sentence?
So basically, yes. So basically, when he says, I do not want to fight, so basically at that point, he's saying, you tell me what to do. That is the mood. The mood is that, okay, I will not fight, but then you tell me what should I actually do? And then explain why should I do? So that's the mood. So it's not like a final decision, but then he's explaining his situation and his state of mind, that he does not want to fight, but then you tell me what I should do. That's the mood.
That part where Prabhupada writes about etiquettes. So we see that in further also Arjuna is having cross questions sometimes in Bhagavad Gita. So only at this moment Prabhupada clearly writes that this is not a proper etiquette, like saying Krishna to giving like not clarification but like kind of he's saying
counter
arguments. There Prabhupada clearly writing this is not good attitude. So how do we refine our attitude? Well, like.
See, later on when Arjuna asks questions, he's just asking questions for clarification. No? It's not like argument. But here it is argument because here he's saying, hey, you will fight with your grandfather or what? That is the mood, isn't it?
That is Prabhupada writing. So which means we are understanding through Acharya like that.
Yeah, so that's what we read the Acharya's commentaries. No? So that's Arjuna's mood in asking that, in saying that. No, you are Arisudan, You are Madhusudan.
Yes.
You only kill your enemies. You never kill your teacher. And you're asking me to kill teacher. So this is like a direct counter argument. No?
Okay.
But later on, when he asks questions, then it's not like a counter argument. That's only for clarification. Yeah. The mood is different. No?
In 7th verse, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. But in before that, 2nd and 3rd verse, Krishna chastises. So how come he was on like friendly way? In friends, generally one another friend do not chastise; they just suggest. So how
I
come?
think you never got chastisement from a friend.
They do out of like.
आगे बोलो, they do out of? Out of what?
Out of love, they tease.
तो वही है ना, तो वही है. So Krishna and Arjuna are also friends, na?
Here in the Akirti, there is mentioned like Krishna is saying that you will not become famous also. So it means becoming famous is like, was Arjuna was trying to become famous, or like people want to become, I'm confused. Like it's like a position to become famous. I mean,
Okay, somebody wants to answer that question? Was Arjuna looking for some fame?
Because here, what Lord is referring to Arjuna as a warrior, because warrior, when he dies in the battle, either if he wins, he gets the fame. If he dies, he goes to heaven. That's what Lord is referring to.
Correct. That's the point. So, so a Kshatriya automatically becomes famous when he wins the war or he dies in the battlefield by his valor. He dies on the battlefield, he fights and he dies. He automatically becomes famous. So therefore Krishna is saying, if you run away from the battlefield, you don't fight, then you will not get the fame as a Kshatriya, whether you want it or not. But people will criticize you. That's what he will tell in the next verses also. People will criticize you. They will consider you as coward. They will not consider you as a Kshatriya. Krishna is just trying to tell him what will be the results of his not fighting. That is what he's trying to do. Okay?
Also for Kshatriya, infamy is worse
than death. Yes.
Yeah, so if people would have criticized him, he would not have survived only.
Yes, that also Krishna says later on. For a Kshatriya, infamy. Question?
For my application.
Everything is for application.
Generally, when we are in that situation, like Arjuna was there in that situation, he was suffering. So in our life also, when we are in that situations, we try to take guidance or hear Prabhupada lectures and all the different scriptures. We are very much very
eager
and very much serious to take, and that goes also inside that at that time. But as we come out from that situations, we become again normal, and that things will not enter in our heart, and again all that practice become less.
No, actually you don't become normal, you become abnormal. That is normal. This is abnormal.
So how to be always in normal?
How to become normal? By understanding the nature of this world. What is the normal nature of this world? What is the normal nature of this world?
Always giving the suffering. Padam padam.
Yes. Padam padam yad vipadam. So when we understand that this is the nature of the world, there's danger at every step. It is always a place of misery and confusion. So then when we understand that, then we will always be serious. But then when we think that's the influence of the material energy, that's the influence of Maya. So Maya makes us forget. So therefore we have to keep on hearing, keep on applying, serving. Then the more we serve, the more realization we get. Then we will always be alert, because we understand that material world is a dangerous place. At any moment there can be disaster. Any moment, least expected moment, there can be disaster. Okay, now we'll proceed. Now Krishna actually begins to give his instructions in the from the 11th verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashochan Anvashoshastvam Pragyavadam Shabashase Gatasunna Gatasumscha Nanushoshanti Panditaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you're mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Purport. ठीक है लाइन में Oh, there are more mics, then you can tomorrow you can.
But the Lord at once took the position of the teacher and chastised the student, calling him indirectly a fool. The Lord said, "You're talking like a learned man, but you do not know what one who is learned, one who knows what is body and what is soul, does not lament for any stage of the body, neither in the living nor in the dead condition." As explained in later chapters, it will be clear that knowledge means to know matter and spirit and the controller of both. Arjuna argued that religious principles should be given more importance than politics or sociology. But he did not know that knowledge of matter, soul, and the supreme is even more important than religious formularies. And because he was lacking in that knowledge, he should not have posed himself as a very learned man. As he did not happen to be a very learned man, he was consequently lamenting for something which was unworthy of lamentation. The body is born and is destined to be vanished today or tomorrow. Therefore, the body is not as important as the soul. One who knows this is actually learned, and for him there is no cause for lamentation, regardless of the condition of material body.
Ashochan Anvashoshasvam Pragya Vadam Shabashas. So Krishna is telling, you're speaking like a learned man, pragya. You're speaking like a learned man, but you're lamenting for that which is not lamentable. So therefore, indirectly he's saying you're not learned, because learned person does not lament like this. So therefore, indirectly he's telling him, you're a fool, you're not learned. And so Krishna begins to first of all point out Arjuna's position, that you're thinking you're learned, but you're not learned. You're a fool. So therefore, then that becomes the right platform for one to accept knowledge. If one thinks I'm learned, then it is very difficult to accept knowledge. Correct? So the example is given, if the glass is already full, then nothing more can be filled. And in that context, we all know the story that Srila Prabhupada told. Which story? Bolo.
Story where a person goes to learn Mridanga from a teacher, and teacher asks him, and the student asks him, what is the amount for learning? He says 200 rupees. Then in meanwhile, another student comes to the teacher and asks him, I also want to learn. And the other student asks, what is the price? And the teacher says it's 100 rupees. Then he was shocked, the earlier student, the student who has come first. And in shock, he has asked the teacher, same course, but I was charged 200 and he is charged 100. How will it show? Then the teacher explained that, he has come like a blank paper. I can directly teach him the notes. But in your case, I have to rub off the earlier stuff and then I have to reteach everything. So that's why it notes.
Correct. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada often quoted the example of Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, how they approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So even though they were actually learned, but when they approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they approached with so much of humility as simply fools. Keami kene mora jape tapatrai. So they're saying that we don't even know. Many people say we are learned, and we are so foolish that we accept also that we are learned. But what is our learning? We are so foolish we do not even know who am I. So that is the proper mood in which one can actually learn. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, in his lectures, he says, so if one approaches a teacher with a challenging spirit, oh, I already know so much, let me see how much this teacher knows. So if one is sitting in a class with that attitude and that mood, one cannot learn much. Then Prabhupada says, better don't waste teacher's time, don't waste your time. So therefore, the submissive attitude is very important in order for one to acquire knowledge. And the submissive attitude means, I do not know, let me learn. And so, Srila Prabhupada explains, therefore, that in that mood, when a student is always trying to learn, when a student is asking questions in that mood that I want to learn, then one can actually learn. And so therefore, here Krishna is first of all setting the right mood for Arjuna. And he's telling him, you're a fool, don't think you're learned. So when one has that right attitude, then one can actually learn the knowledge. Therefore, Krishna is first of all speaking this to Arjuna. And then he actually begins to give knowledge of the Atma Tattva, 12th verse. Na tvevaham jatu nasam, na tvam neme janadipa, na chaiva na bhavishyama, sarve vayam ataparam. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So this is an important philosophical verse. And Srila Prabhupada did quote this verse and speak many times on this verse. So and Prabhupada is giving quite an elaborate commentary on that. So somebody can first of all read the first paragraph.
Purport. In the Vedas, in the Katha Upanishad, as well as in the Shvetashvatar Upanishad, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities in terms of their different situations according to individual work and reaction of work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is also, by his plenary portions, alive in the heart of every living entity. Only saintly persons who can see within and without the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to perfect and eternal peace. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman tam atmasthame anupashyanti dhiras tesham shanti shashvati netarasam. The same Vedic truth given to Arjun is given to all persons in the world who pose themselves as very learned but factually have but a poor fund of knowledge. The Lord clearly says that he himself, Arjuna, and all the kings who are assembled on the battlefield are eternally individual beings, and that the Lord is eternally the maintainer of the individual living entities, both in their condition and in their liberated situations. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Individual Person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all the kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individuals in the past, and it is not that they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality existed in the past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone.
Okay. So here in this verse indicates two important principles, siddhanta, about the soul. What is that? Yes, one point is the soul is eternal, and the second point is okay.
All of us are soul.
What is that? Individuality. Individuality. So this verse is describing eternality and individuality of the soul. So therefore, so here Krishna is saying that all these souls, all these kings, you and myself, all of them were present in the past, they are present now, and they will continue to exist in the future. That means they are all eternal, and they will continue to remain as individual souls. So these are 2 points, philosophical points about the nature of the soul that is being stressed in this verse, the eternality and individuality of the soul. Now, since the Mayavadis don't accept these points, so the Mayavadi theory is that individuality is there in the conditioned state. As long as one is in the material world, has a material body, We are all individuals. But then after liberation, all the souls will merge into the Supreme Spirit. So that is Mayavadi theory. So therefore, now the rest of the purport, Srila Prabhupada defeats Mayavad, because this is an important verse to refute Mayavad. And wherever Srila Prabhupada gets a chance to defeat Mayavad, he never leaves it. You will find amazing places where Srila Prabhupada defeats Mayavad, where nobody can even think of. So here, this is of course outright explanation, defeating Mayavad. And so Prabhupada, he very beautifully defeats Mayavad. Okay, continue.
The Mayavadi theory that after liberation, the individual soul, separated by the covering of Maya or illusion, will merge into the impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence is not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the supreme authority. Nor is the theory that we only think of individuality in conditioned states supported herein. Krishna clearly says herein that in the future also the individuality of the Lord and others, as it is confirmed in the Upanishads, will continue eternally. This statement of Krishna's is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subject to illusion. If individuality were not a fact, then Krishna would not have stressed it so much, even for the future. The Mayavadi may argue that the individuality spoken of by Krishna is not spiritual but material. Even accepting the argument that the individuality is material, then how can one distinguish Krishna's individuality? Krishna affirms his individuality in the past and confirms his individuality in the future also. He has confirmed his individuality in many ways. An impersonal Brahman has been declared to be subordinate to him. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. If he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, then his Bhagavad Gita has no value as authoritative scripture.
Okay, fine. So you can see how Srila Prabhupada is defeating Mayavad. So he's saying that the Mayavad theory is that individuality is only there in the conditioned state. After liberation, everyone will merge into the Supreme Spirit. So then, but Krishna is saying that even in the future, all these kings, you, me, all of them will continue to remain as individuals. So then, why is Krishna speaking about the future if in future individuality will not be there? Anybody knows what is Prabhupada's example? Prabhupada gives a very simple, gross, but quite strong example to illustrate that how this can never happen. Okay, visual raise. Okay. Okay, fine. So, okay, these are Prabhupada's examples. One is because the Mayavadis give the example of the rivers merging into the ocean and becoming one. So then Srila Prabhupada, he defeats it in two ways. One way he defeats it in is by saying that even though the river waters merge into the waters of the ocean, the atomic constitution still remains the same. That's one way. Another way Prabhupada refutes it is, even though the water may merge, the aquatics, the individuality of the aquatics still remains. This is ways in which Prabhupada refutes that analogy. The other analogy which the Mayavadis give is of the green bird merging into the green tree. That is common sense. The bird may appear to merge, but then the bird always remains. There are two more analogies Prabhupada gives. Yes, this is quite a humorous one. So Prabhupada says, child has come from the mother's womb. After he comes out, if the child says, mother, I want to go back into your womb, this is foolishness. This is another one. One more Prabhupada gives. So he says, just like when you see an aeroplane flying, afterwards, as the plane goes higher and higher, what happens? Small, and then it disappears. It appears as if the plane has merged into the sky. Correct? It appears, but does it merge? No. So Prabhupada gives all these analogies to refute this point that there is no question of merging into the Supreme Spirit. So the individuality always remains. So then he raises another point that, so the Mayavadis may argue that individuality spoken of by Krishna is not spiritual, but material. That means only on the material platform, individuality is there. It's not on the spiritual platform. That means as long as the body is there, there are different individuals. But as far as the souls are concerned, no, all are one. And then how Prabhupada is refuting that? Yes, then Prabhupada is refuting that by saying, but then what about Krishna's individuality? So if we say that Krishna's individuality is also material, then the whole Bhagavad Gita has no meaning. That means if we say that Krishna also has material individuality, he also has a material body, then the moment you say he has a material body like us, he's a material person, then why should we break our heads trying to study Bhagavad Gita? Then it is any ordinary book written by any ordinary person, correct? Who has 4 defects. What is the meaning of studying this book? So therefore, and Krishna is saying all of us are individuals. So how can Krishna's individuality also be material then? So this is how Prabhupada is very logically refuting Mayavad. Very logical. This is not some philosophical refutation actually. This is simply logical refutation that Prabhupada is giving over here. Okay, continue. Okay, whoever has mic read. I think I put. A common man.
A common man with all the 4 defects of human frailty is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. The Gita is above such literature. No mundane book compares with the Bhagavad Gita. When one accepts Krishna as an ordinary man, the Gita loses all importance. The Mayavadi argues that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional and that is refers to the body. But previous to this verse, such a bodily conception is already condemned. After condemning the bodily conception of the living entities, how was it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again?
So this is another point Prabhupada is refuting. So if the Mayavadis say that individuality is only material, but then Krishna has already condemned the material conception. Ashochananava. He's already condemned the material conception. So then why will he refer to individuality as being simply material? Okay. Everyone is understanding? How Prabhupada is refuting Mayavad. Okay.
Therefore, individuality is mentioned on spiritual grounds and is thus confirmed by great acharyas like Sri Ramanuja and others. It is clearly mentioned in many places in the Gita that the spiritual individuality is understood by those who are devotees of the Lord. Those who are envious of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead have no bona fide access to the great literature. The non-devotee's approach to the teachings of the Gita is something like that of a bee licking on a bottle of honey. One cannot have a taste of honey unless one opens the bottle. Similarly, the mysticism of the Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees, and no one else can taste it. As it is stated in the 4th chapter of the book, nor can the Gita be touched by a person who envy the very existence of the Lord. Therefore, the Mayavadi explanation of the Gita is a most misleading presentation of the whole truth. Lord Chaitanya has forbidden us to read commentations made by the Mayavadis and warns that one who takes to such an understanding of Mayavadi philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery of the Gita. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of teaching by the Lord. The plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Vedas as above mentioned.
Right. So somebody who's envious of Krishna cannot understand the Gita. Right. So therefore, Krishna teaches the Gita to Arjuna because of his quality of non-enviousness. And so therefore, the Mayavadis and other non-devotees who try to understand Gita are like simply licking the bottle of honey from outside. Prabhupada says that my Guru Maharaj would give this example of licking the honey bottle from outside. So one cannot actually taste or understand the contents of the Gita on an envious platform. Okay, we'll stop for today and we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So tomorrow we'll try to, no, definitely we'll finish this section of from 11 to 30. Okay, this entire section of Atma Tattva. So please do try to read this section.